I tried 6 different thumbnails over 2 different videos, and today we're going to take a look at the results. Hi, I'm Dave, and this is Old Dad Studio, and one of the things that I had committed to when I started this daily vlog series is that I would show some of the behind the scenes of my channel as it grows and as I try different things and as I design things or I come up with something new. I want to let everybody know how it's working and what's happening. Now, one of the features that you can do in your YouTube studio that I've only used twice now, so these are the 2 times that I've used it, it's called split testing. And it's where you develop different thumbnails for your videos, and then you can basically have those thumbnails compete. So the split test, what it does is sometimes it'll show thumbnail number 1, and if that one is getting clicks and the percentage is higher, then that one gets shown more and more, versus thumbnail number 2, which might not be getting as many clicks when it is shown, and so the percentages go back and forth until eventually a winner is determined, and then that becomes your thumbnail. And it's all done by percentages and automatically done behind the scenes for YouTube and for YouTube Studio. Now, like I say, I've done this twice, and so I've got 2 different videos that I wanted to take a look at today. 2 different results, and one was kind of disappointing, and I'll tell you why here in a moment. And then the other one was really interesting. So it's something I might use in the future. I know a lot of emphasis is put on creating a really good thumbnail and title to get the clicks. I'm not a thumbnail expert, at least not yet at this point. I'm still learning. I typically do my thumbnail the very last thing that I do before I post the video. Actually, a lot of times I will have the video posted and scheduled, and it's ready for the next morning to go out at 8 a.m. and I still haven't designed the thumbnail, and I'll be like, okay, the last thing I have to do is create some kind of thumbnail. So my process is, a lot of times I'm doing it right at the very end, and everything else is done, and a lot of times it's late at night because I cut these a lot of times very late at night, and I do it really quickly. So my thumbnails are probably not the best that they could be. And looking at some of the folks on YouTube and what they talk about, how to get the most traffic and the most attention to your videos, is to make sure that you have a fantastic thumbnail. Now, I don't know what constitutes fantastic thumbnail. And I've looked at some really successful people like Mr. Beast. I've taken a look at his thumbnails. His are at least the trend he has lately. They're more comic-y, almost over-the-top type thumbnails. And some of the videos I've watched, tutorials on how to create a thumbnail, a lot of times people are creating their thumbnails first, establishing their thumbnail, spending all this time getting it just perfect, and then creating the video to match what they created in their thumbnail, which I think is backwards. At least the way that I have always done it. I've always created the thumbnail after I've got the video done, and I don't know, maybe I am doing it backwards. But I know it's an area that I need to improve on. So I've used the tool twice. Let's take a look at see what's happened in these 2 different videos. The first one was my vlog number 53, and it's titled, "I Made the Military Change Its Procedure." All right, here we are in my YouTube studio. So this is behind the scenes. This is what I see when I log in and I go to the studio. And you can see all of the videos that I have listed here. I've got them right now. I've got them sorted by dates. The most recent date is on top. So Meet Blue is the one that I just released this morning. Now, if I go back all the way down to right here, I made the military change its procedure. So this is the video that I'm talking about. Now, when I click on the video, it takes me to the more detailed page behind the video and all the parameters and everything that I have set up to support that video being displayed on my channel. There's lots of information here. I'm not going to go into it all. I'm just specifically focusing on the split testing of the thumbnails today. Now, if I go hover over the icon, a couple of things happen. You see the word test comes up right there, indicating that this was a test, and then I've got the 3 dots here that bring up some more options, and I can view my test report. And now this one, the test finished without a conclusive result. This is the disappointing one. Now, the story behind this one, and probably why this one had no real conclusion to it, is how I did the split test. When I first released this video, it didn't have either one of these two thumbnails as the thumbnail. So let me show you the progression of what happened and kind of the timeline, what was happening with this particular video. So when I first released this video, I had this thumbnail right here. Now this was something that I designed myself, and I had the little red dots there were indicating part of the story that I was telling. And if, feel free to, I'll put a link up here if you want to go on and take a look at this video and know what those red dots were in the story. And this was a personal story, this one. But I didn't like this thumbnail. I let it be out there for a couple of days. It got a little bit of traction, but I really didn't like this thumbnail. So what I did was I asked ChatGPT to design me a thumbnail. So I gave it a bunch of parameters, and it designed the second thumbnail, which is this one right here. Now, this thumbnail, I liked it a little bit better, but I wanted to make some changes. So I actually took it into Photoshop. I made some changes to it, and this is what I came out with. So this is what the thumbnail looked like when I published it. And I let that be out there for a while. And again, it got some traction. Again, it got more traction than what it originally had. But I wanted more traction. I was thinking this video really could get some good traction under it. And if I had just the right thumbnail, maybe I could drive more traffic to this particular video. I think it's a fantastic story myself, but I'm biased. So what I thought I would do was, well, what if I added a second thumbnail into the rotation, use the split test, that way I could experience the split test tool, because this was the first time I had used the split test tool. Maybe that second thumbnail could help drive some traffic to the video. And so I went back to ChatGPT. I came up with a completely different idea, different concept, had it design me another thumbnail. So then I added this thumbnail. And I put that into the rotation. Now, when you're doing a split test, what you really should do is have your thumbnails all available and ready right up front. So when you launch your video, your thumbnails are all there, and the split test happens from the very beginning. In this one, I didn't do that. I had one thumbnail that I didn't like. I threw that one out. I changed it to another one. I let that one run for a while. It got some views, didn't get a lot of traffic. Then I thought, I'm going to add a second one into the mix, and then I'm going to do a split test. And so I really didn't, the failure here was me. It wasn't the tool. And I really didn't get any traffic on that second thumbnail, at least not enough to make the split test have any kind of conclusive results. And in this case, what I ended up doing was choosing that third thumbnail just as the thumbnail. I made the decision, so I'm going to let this one ride. All right, now this video, since I made the change to use that third thumbnail as the thumbnail for this video, has gotten 0 more views. So I think what I'm going to do while we're in here today, I'm going to change it back to the second thumbnail that I had that got the most views for this video. So in the end, we kind of did do a test, I guess, because I did it myself. But we'll see what happens now. So this video total has had 65 views. That's how many views it had when I decided to make that third thumbnail the thumbnail. So we will see now how many views this video gets. All right, so that was the disappointing one. The one that's actually a little bit more interesting, let's go take a look at that one now. All right, the next video that I did a split test on was my vlog number 63. The title of it is, What Do Moon Landings, AI, and Sushi Have in Common? Again, I think it's a fun video. You should go watch it. Here's a link. All right, let's take a look at the test. Now for this one, I had 3 different thumbnails right off the bat, right when I published the video. Although the concept, you could say I really only had 2. And let's get into it. So the first one is this one right here. So this is one that's AI generated. It's generated based on the conversation that I had with ChatGPT. At the end of that conversation, I asked ChatGPT to design me a thumbnail that would fit the conversation we just had. And this is the thumbnail that it came up with. Now, there were a couple of slight changes that I made to it after ChatGPT created it, but nothing major. So this is the ChatGPT thumbnail. Thumbnail number 2 was just of me with ChatGPT, and I didn't have a smile or anything on my face. I'm just kind of there, right? It's just the two of us there, and that's this one here. The third one was with me having a smile on my face and with ChatGPT or with Quinn, and so the concept of thumbnail 2 and 3 were really the same. So it was me with a screen showing ChatGPT or showing Quinn. So the concept of 2 and 3 were the same. The concept of number 1 was completely different. So it was AI generated versus just a picture of me along with ChatGPT. Now you can see that the thumbnail that won out over all 3 had 45% of the click-throughs. The CTR, the click-through rate, was the highest for the thumbnail number 1. For thumbnail number 2 and 3, the one where I was smiling was slightly higher than the one where I wasn't smiling. Now, what's interesting about this is that if you really were to take a look at these thumbnails, the concept of me, a picture of me and ChatGPT together as a thumbnail, that concept won out over the AI-generated image, because if you added those two together, they're at like, what, 54.1%. Is that right? 55.1% for those two icons together. So I wonder if I had just had 2 images, the one of me smiling with ChatGPT and then the ChatGPT generated thumbnail, if the one of me smiling would have won out in that instance. All right, so there you have it. One was inconclusive, but yet we were still able to make some determinations based on the data that I did have, even though the split test itself didn't work. The other one chose a thumbnail. However, if we really look at the data, the second concept really won over the first one, although I kind of like that first thumbnail anyway, so I think I'm going to keep that first AI-generated thumbnail as my thumbnail. But I do think I need to use this more in the future. Plus, I know that I need to get better at creating thumbnails and coming up with much better clickable thumbnails that get attention. I haven't figured it out yet. So that's something that I'll keep working on. And I don't know what thumbnail I'm going to create for this one because it's just me as a talking head. So now what do? I don't know. I don't know what thumbnail I'm going to create for this one yet. So by the time you're seeing this, you've clicked on the thumbnail, so you know what it is before I even do right now when I'm recording this video. So I guess we'll have to see what it is. And there you have it. That's the vlog for today. Hey, I love you all. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.